The comments on the mineral oil video have been coming in for 2 weeks. And the most common question is not about lubrication or rust. It is about cold hunters from Minnesota, Wisconsin, Montana, Wyoming asking the same thing. What happens to mineral oil when it is 15 below zero on a November morning? The honest answer is that it thickens. Below about 20 degrees Fahrenheit, mineral oil starts to lose its fluidity. In semi-auto actions with tight tolerances, that thickening can cause failures to cycle. In bolt-action rifles, you will feel it as increased resistance on the stroke. At 10 below, it can be significant enough to affect reliable function. I told you about mineral oil because mineral oil is the right oil for most hunting situations. Most hunters in most of the country are hunting above 20 degrees for most of their season, but several hundred of you hunt in conditions where that threshold matters, and you deserve the honest answer for those conditions. I want to introduce you to Craig Pellman. Craig is not the only one who contacted me about this. I heard from a hunter in Wisconsin who had the same experience with a pump shotgun in January, a hunter in Wyoming who had sluggish bolt movement on a 12-degree morning, and a Minnesota hunter who described his semi-auto as running like it was underwater. All of them had been using mineral oil or standard gun oil. All of them were hunting in conditions below the threshold I described. The compound was not failing because it was bad oil. It was failing because it was the wrong oil for those specific conditions. That is an important distinction. Mineral oil is the right answer for three-season hunting in most of the country. It is not the right answer for -10 in a Montana, river bottom at legal light. For that, you need a compound. With a cold rating, Craig hunts elk and mule deer out of central Montana. He's been hunting the same drainages for 18 years. 2 Novembers ago, he had a bull at 60 yards on a cold, clear morning. Temperature was 8 degrees at legal light. He had treated his rifle with mineral oil before the season in September. He cycled the action. Everything felt fine. The bull stepped into an opening. Craig settled the crosshairs and squeezed. The shot did not go. The firing pin strike was light enough that the primer did not detonate. He worked the bolt manually, cycled again, and the bull was gone. He sent me a message after watching the mineral oil video. He said the mineral oil thickening description matched exactly what he had seen in his logbook. He had been blaming the ammunition. The ammunition was fine. Before I walk you through what Craig uses now, I want to point you to something. Chapter 8 of The Hunter's Vault covers this exact problem in detail. Threshold temperatures by oil, type, protocols for cold season transition, and the full field kit for hunting below zero. Scan the QR code showing in the top left of your screen right now, or find the link in the description below and get the complete cold weather system in there. Now let me tell you what Craig switched to after that. November synthetic motor oil, 5W30 from any auto parts store, about $4 per quart. That is the answer. Craig found after 2 seasons of testing different solutions, and it is the answer that holds up in the specifications. SAE 5W30 maintains adequate viscosity down to -22 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the W in the rating. W stands for winter, and the number, before it tells you the cold temperature performance floor, 5W30 flows at -22. 10W30 flows to around -13. Both ratings cover every temperature a hunter in the continental United States will encounter. In the field in November, the specifications are on the bottle at the auto parts store. This is not a workaround or a field improvisation. It is engineered to maintain viscosity in exactly the conditions that cause rifle failures. One more thing before the protocol. Craig also mentioned a mistake he made in the first season after switching. He applied the synthetic oil over the mineral oil without flushing the action first. The two products are compatible in chemistry. They will not react with each other. But the old mineral oil dilutes the synthetic and raises the effective pour point of the mix. You lose the cold rating you paid for, flush the action with Ed's red or plain kerosene before switching to synthetic. That step removes the old oil completely, so the synthetic goes onto clean metal. The cold rating on the bottle then applies to what is actually on the parts. Craig said, skipping that step cost him a full season of proper cold performance. He did not know until the second year when he flushed first and felt the difference. That flush first step is documented in Chapter 8 of the Vault, along with the full protocol. But the core switch is simple. Flush apply, synthetic rated below zero, function test in the cold. Craig has not had a cold weather failure since. Coming up, Craig walks us through the transition protocol and what to watch for. Craig's transition protocol is 3 steps. Step 1 is a flush. He uses Ed's red to clean the action completely before switching to the synthetic. The Ed's red cuts through the old oil and carries it off every bearing surface. He runs a wet patch through the bore, then wipes down every accessible surface in the action. 2 passes on the bolt assembly with Ed's red on a clean rag. He lets the action sit open for 15 minutes to let the solvent fraction evaporate. Then he checks the surfaces with a dry rag. If the dry rag comes back clean, the old oil is out. If it comes back with any residue, he repeats. Step 2 is the synthetic application. Craig uses 5W30 full synthetic motor oil from the auto parts store. He applies it exactly the way he applied the mineral oil before. 1 drop on the bolt cam surface, 1 drop on each guide rail, 1 drop in the firing pin channel. He wipes external surfaces with a lightly loaded patch. Then he cycles the action 30 times by hand. He does this inside at room temperature. The synthetic needs to distribute through the mechanism before the cold test. Step 3 is the cold function test. Craig does this before the season, not in the field. He puts the rifle in his truck the night before a cold morning forecast, not to store it overnight, just to let it equilibrate to outdoor temperature for a few hours. Then he cycles the bolt by hand in the cold and dry fires the action. He is checking for the resistance and the firing pin, strike quality. The same feel he had with the rifle at room temperature should be present in the cold. If the bolt cycle's clean and the firing pin drops consistent, he knows the system is ready. Craig said this test caught the old mineral oil problem immediately. In the first year before the switch, the rifle that had been running mineral oil showed noticeable bolt resistance at 8 degrees during a preseason cold check. The same rifle, after the synthetic transition, cycled clean at the same temperature. Same rifle, same stand, same morning, different oil. He also addressed something hunters often ask about synthetic motor oil on a rifle, whether the detergent package in the motor oil is a concern on gunmetal. Full synthetic 5W30 contains detergent additives for engine use. Those additives are not harmful to blued or stainless steel surfaces. Craig has been running it on 2 bolt actions for 3 seasons. No finish degradation, no unusual wear at contact points. The detergent package is designed to suspend carbon deposits in engine oil. In a rifle action, there is less carbon and more protective benefit than risk. One thing Craig does not use synthetic for is the bore. He uses mineral oil, USP, for a light bore coat during storage. The bore does not experience the cold viscosity problem that the action does. Mineral oil in the bore is adequate protection for any storage condition. The synthetic is specifically for the action and the mechanical surfaces, where cold temperature failure actually occurs. Craig also gave me a practical note about oil quantity in cold weather. Most hunters apply more oil when they notice the action is sluggish and cold. That is the wrong instinct. More oil in a cold action creates more viscous drag, not less. The correct response to cold action sluggishness is less oil of the right type, not more oil of the wrong type. A properly maintained action running 5W30 synthetic needs very little product. 3 drops in the right places, as described in the transition protocol. That is the full application. Craig runs less oil on his cold weather rifle than he ever ran on his warm weather setup. Because the synthetic holds its viscosity, he does not need to compensate with volume. He also noted that the synthetic does not attract carbon and grit the way heavier oils do. The action stays cleaner through a full season of cold weather hunting, which means the end of season strip and clean is faster than it used to be. He said that was an unexpected benefit he did not anticipate when he made the switch. The rifle just runs better in every measurable way for cold conditions, and it costs $4 per quart at any auto parts store. Craig keeps a small bottle of 5W30 in his hunting pack. Not for in-field application. He never oils the action in the field. He keeps it in case he needs to demonstrate the product to a hunting partner. He said 3 hunting partners switched to synthetic after watching his rifle perform. On a morning when everyone else was working stiff bolts, the Cold and Wet Armory guide inside. The hunter's vault goes deeper on this threshold temperatures by oil-type condensation protocols. And what to do if you are already in the field when the oil fails, scan the QR code showing in the top left of the screen right now, or hit the link in the description below. If you hunt below 20 degrees at any point this season, this is the protocol that keeps your action running when it matters. Go get it right now while you're watching. And before you close out, hit subscribe because Craig is back next week with the condensation problem and what happens when you bring a cold rifle into a warm truck.